What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. All right, so it's been a hell of a week for Rachel Zegler, as you guys already know. Starting off on Monday, when the Daily Wire made the announcement that, yeah, we're going to do a non-woke version of Snow White. Disney wants to do this woke girl boss Snow White BS. All right, fine. You guys go ahead and do that. We're going to do a classic traditional version of the original Grimm fairy tale. All right, a non-woke Snow White. It is probably going to clean up. It's probably going to do amazing numbers, you know, while you guys are going to be losing an absolute shit ton of money over here with old girl boss Rachel Zegler, weird herself, you know. But that wasn't the only news that came out regarding Rachel Zegler this week. On Box Office Pro, a long-range box office forecast for The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and a couple of other films. But this is the one we talking about, all right? Because remember, we've been discussing this film. We've been talking about it, and there's a lot of backlash already out for this film. Has nothing to do with the film itself, but it has everything to do with the star, Rachel Zegler. Yeah, you guys will remember, we covered this article right here. Fans boycotting another major reboot amid the Rachel Zegler Snow White controversy. And, of course, the boycott that they're talking about is the Hunger Games prequel. And, yeah, man, people just don't want to support any movie that has anything to do with this chick right here, okay? And her bratty, snotty attitude. People ain't with it, you know? And so even with that being said, like when you get back to this Hunger Games and the box office, look, I didn't think that this thing was going to do amazing numbers anyway. I didn't think it was going to blow up, you know. Hunger Games, the franchise in films anyway, ended like, what, 8 years ago? Like back in 2015, man, people ain't checking for this right now. That whole young adult novel phase, you know, with like Maze Runner and Divergent and all of that stuff, you know, Hunger Games. That stuff just kind of scooted its way up out of Hollywood. It's not really the thing anymore, you know. I guess if there's something that's really popular, maybe it could kick off like the Hunger Games. Maybe, you know. But we'll have to see. But nevertheless, we do have the long-range box office numbers. And yeah, it ain't good, bro. It ain't good at all. Yeah, but before we get to that, let's check out the pros. It's only one of them. The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is aiming to bring back faithful fans of its source material and the 4 blockbuster films released between 2012 and 2015. Collectively, they earned $1.45 billion at the domestic box office. A strong ensemble cast and the return of director Francis Lawrence are also notable factors. Yeah, this thing got a pretty decent cast. You know, it's got Peter Dinklage, obviously. It had Viola Davis, you know, and then, of course, it has Rachel. So, yeah, I mean, that's a solid cast. But look, this thing is 8 years old, man. 2015. That's when it came out. All right. Mockingjay Part 2, 2015. I don't know how many people are checking for this thing, you know. I don't know how many people were actually interested and fired up to watch this in the first place. And then, of course, you add Rachel Zegler, that little rotten apple, into this whole barrel of nonsense. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out. Here we go with the cons. Preliminary social metrics for Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes are far below those of its franchise predecessors and more comparable to the recent Fantastic Beasts sequels in the Harry Potter universe. Ouch. You don't want to be compared to these Fantastic Beasts films, okay? I'm going to tell you that right now. What was the last one? The Secrets of Dumbledore? That didn't do nothing. You know, I think that one barely opened to like $40 million or something like that. Nowhere near where they wanted it to be. Again, they spent like $200 million on that joint. And yeah, nowhere near where they wanted it to be. This is reflective of an overall decline in the former heat created by young adult-leaning films 1 decade ago. Yeah, all of that stuff, all of that Hunger Games and Divergent, all of that stuff, there was hot properties back then. But now this stuff is just kind of like, you know, the superheroes kind of stepped in and took over. And, you know, nobody's really coming back to this quite yet. Now, will this bring it back? I doubt it, just because of Rachel Zegler. But again, the buzz is just not there for this film. It's just not. So, yeah, I think this thing is already DOA. Moreover, Jennifer Lawrence's rise to stardom during the film's franchise's original release will obviously not be a factor here. Franchise prequels rarely drum up the same excitement as what's come before. Yeah, see, Jennifer Lawrence isn't going to be in this thing, all right? If J-Law was in there, yeah, you might have something, right? And, you know, if only they had some kind of a hot young actress rising to stardom like they're talking about, right? Rising to stardom during the film franchises or releases. If only they had somebody like that in this film. Nah, they just got this Rachel Zegler chick who's just been in flop after flop after flop. So yeah, we're going to see how that goes. Competition for the target female audience will be considerable, with the Marvels opening up 1 week earlier. Yeah, we already saw that one's not going to do much better than this one, okay? Trolls band together, bowing on the same weekend, and then Wish 5 days later. Yeah, so let's go ahead and see what is this thing scheduled to do. All right, so here we go. We see the Marvels right there, all right? The Marvels a week before, 50 to 75 million. That ain't good. And then we also got the Hunger Games right here, 35 to 45 million dollars. Ouch. Ouch, ouch. That's not going to get it done. I'm sorry, Lionsgate. You guys are going to have a huge flop on your hands with 35 to 45 million opening weekend. Only expected to do in the domestic box office 90 million to 142 million. I want to say like that was the opening weekend for Hunger Games, right? The Hunger Games back in like 2012. Hold up a second. Let's check this out real quick. Okay, so here go the Hunger Game movies, all right? Let's see what this joint opened up at. Yeah, 152 million opening back in 2012. And then, yeah, here goes Catching Fire. Catching Fire was the best one. It made the most money, too. 158 million opening weekend. This thing is not projected. This Songbirds and Snakes film is not even projected to make in its entire box office run what the Catching Fire made in its opening weekend. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. And then we got Mockingjay Part 1. Yeah, you see, it was diminishing returns after that for the Hunger Games. Yeah, only 121 million opening weekend. And then we got Mockingjay Part 2. Yeah, clocking in at 102 million opening weekend. So look, it's not going to hit the opening weekends of any of these, at least according to Box Office Pro, okay? It's not going to hit any of these opening weekends, coming in at 35 to 45 million for its opener. And then on top of that, it might not even reach the total opening weekends for a couple of them with its entire domestic run. Its entire domestic run may not even meet the opening weekends for the original Hunger Games or Catching Fire. Sheesh, man, that's crazy. But again, we got to go back. What if you had a J-Law starring in this film? Somebody who's already on the rise, who's like, oh yeah, I like this actress. She's kind of cool. I like seeing her in this and this and this. She doesn't seem to have anything negative to say when she's in the press. Now, later J-Law, she might have been saying a few things, but that time, at that moment in time, yeah, J-Law was right there where she needed to be, doing a great job. Okay. RZ, on the other hand, man, she out here just causing all kinds of Snow White controversy. Look, man, this thing is just going to flop and flop hard. That's all it is to it. We just don't know how big the flop is going to be yet because we don't know what the budget is yet. I've seen some guesstimates, that are putting it somewhere around $180 million. I hope Lionsgate didn't spend that much money on this joint. I'm thinking it's going to be somewhere in the low 100s, like 120, 125, 130, somewhere in that one, okay? $130 million. I think if Lionsgate was smart, that's what they spent on this. They do have some big name actors, okay? Like we were saying, they got Dinklage, they got Viola Davis, they got this big mouth chick, and a few others. So I know that they are going to spend some significant amounts of money. I just hope Lionsgate wasn't stupid enough to just go below their whole wad on the Hunger Games, hoping that this thing was going to, blow up and become some huge, spectacular, film for them. It's not. It was never going to be that, But you do have to wonder, if they had like a J-Law, if they had Jennifer Lawrence instead of this chick, that understood, hey, I got to be out here saying and speaking positively about every project that I'm in, and not putting down any piece of it, especially a classic like Snow White. If this chick understood that, at least she wouldn't be hurting this film, okay? She wouldn't be hurting this Hunger Games film. Right now, she is. There's no doubt in my mind that her commentary is absolutely going to lead to nothing but disaster for this film. But anyway, folks, that's all I got to say about it. I think this is just another flop coming on its way, and another black eye on this chick's career, all right? She's already got 2 flops in her back pocket, with West Side Story and Shazam. This one is looking like flop number 3, and we already know what Snow White is going to do. But you guys let me know what you think. Jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. And thanks for watching. See you next time.